As a poet and satirist, Alexander Pope was unrivaled during the first 18th century. Reversed for his masterful use of the couplet, Pope influenced the literature of the primary half the 18th century so undeniably that the period of time is usually called the Age of the Pope. Pope was raised as a Roman Catholic during a period in England's history when only Protestants could obtain a university education or hold position. For this reason, he was largely self-taught. Pope's most celebrated work, The Rape of the Lock, appeared in 1712, when he was only 24. Pope's satire grew more biting as he aged, and he articulated his views on England's political and literary leaders in many of his later works. This was the short introduction of Pope. Now let's move towards our poem. The Rape of the Lock was based on a real-life quarrel between two affluent Roman Catholic families, the Fermors and Betters. The feud began when young Lord Peter snipped a lock of hair from Arabella Fermor. The dispute escalated out of all proportion, and a friend of Pope asked him to intervene, hoping that he could laugh them together again. Pope rose to the occasion, mocking the folly of dispute by portraying it as if it were a battle of epic scale. As we are going to discuss about the Alexander Pope's satire on the society of that time, so, there is a need to discuss characteristics of that time period as well. Pope belonged to Neoclassical era. The era which was the amalgamation of new and classical. In other words, it can be said that authors used to satire and criticize on each and everything. If we talk about the society of that time period, so it was the time of clash between state and church, although tension between two was going on from past ages, but as revival came these tensions again began to grow. Let's see society of that time under the satire that Pope presented in the poem. If we see women of that era, so they had not any important task to do rather to increase their beauty as it was the only work to do for them. According to opinions of different writers and critics, women's role in society was largely limited to the domestic sphere, and even in family life, women were always supposed to be under the control of some male authority. But this was all with their consent. Because at some places, role of women in neoclassical era was represented as the sex who drag men towards them. Moreover, role of men was also similar to that Pope has represented in the poem. They were in authority but used to seek relief in women. There are such instances in the poem where Pope said that when men of that era got tired, they used to seek relief by looking at a woman's face. Furthermore, there lies a satire on judiciary system of that time, like they just know about how to give relief to themselves. Same was the case with the real society of that time period. To cut the long story short, we can say that Pope depicted his age in the poem. Let's see these elements in the poem through the help of textual evidence from poem.